Hi, it's Mark from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with David Fairbairn from Fairbairn Inspections in Vancouver. He's a home inspector, and we're going to talk about air quality. How are you doing, David?
I'm doing pretty good, Mark.
So we're still in the same spot this morning. Beautiful day in Vancouver. Great day to be outside. But what are the signs that air quality testing might be required in my home?
Well, Mark, I get this question a lot. Whereas, it's the question would be, do you have mold in your home? And if you want that question answered, then you should get an air quality test. That's almost the same question. Do I have mold in my house? Well, let's look at some of the reasons that you might think you have mold, and then go from there. If we talk about, you're living in your home, and you see mold. Okay, that would be a pretty good reason to test for mold. You obviously have some sort of issue because you should not be seeing mold growth. We've covered this in our other topics about where mold grows. Showers, windows, doors, attics, crawl spaces, places like that. If you see mold growth, you should call us and we'll take a look at it. And we can sample it, determine where the mold's coming from, and what to do about it. So that would be the main thing, is if you want to find out if you have mold. Now, in many cases, you're not actually going to have visible mold, and you can still have mold in your home. Now, mold can hide places. It could be behind a wall somewhere. It could be below your carpet. It could be behind your fridge. You're not going to be able to see it on a regular basis. So this is where we bring in what's called air quality testing. Now, indoor air quality testing is a way to determine what you're breathing in, and it'll actually provide you with a list of every type of mold spore that you're actually breathing in on a daily basis. So let's look at some of the symptoms that you may have that would prompt you to get this indoor air quality test done. Now, I'm going to scare you, but generally I say use your intuition. So if you think you have mold, you might. I find a lot of times, somebody will actually call me and say, you know what, I think I have mold. I just got a musty smell in my house. It doesn't smell fresh in here. It used to. We had a flood. The guy came and fixed it, and it smells funny. Okay, so that's your big thing, is odors, right? Do I have mold odors in my home? Second thing, you're coughing. This is a big one. If you're unusually sick for a long period of time, it's flu season right now. It's January, and it's going around. If you're persistently getting a cough and it only happens when you're home, that's a pretty good sign that your indoor air quality is pretty poor. Another sign, your family is complaining of itchy eyes, itchy redness, even sometimes on your skin, if you're itchy. These are all symptoms of, or they can be anyways, of having a high level of toxic mold spores in your home. Now, the concept here is that when you get mold, you're going to have the mold grows, and it reproduces the same way flowers do, except without using pollen. It uses spores. It releases spores into the air, and the spores float around, and they land, and they make new mold. And over time, the mold has actually evolved to be, some spores, some strains of mold have actually evolved to be toxic. And this is a competition evolution that they're doing, where they can battle off other types of mold. They win, they kill off other types of mold, and they dominate. And unfortunately, a byproduct of that, with these mycotoxins, they're called, is that they can be harmful to people. You've probably heard about toxic black mold. We've talked about it before, where in the States, a while ago, there was a case where an infant had actually died, and they were looking at toxic black mold as possibly being a case of what happened. So it's scary stuff, and the indoor air quality test can tell you fairly definitively if you're breathing anything in. So I'd like to introduce you to the indoor air quality tool of choice, which is a air pump. So this is a Zephon brand bio pump. This actually draws air through a small cassette called the spore trap. Okay, now the spore trap right here, it's got a sticky plate inside of it. We're going to actually sample a volume of air from inside the house, bring it across the plate, and bring this to a laboratory and have the laboratory evaluate what's on the plate. And by bringing it for a set period of time, we can tell per however many liters of air what you're breathing in. So, what we do is we typically take this. Let's say, we're in a garage right now. You think you have mold in your garage. We're going to run this for a set period of time, a set flow rate with one of these spore traps, and we're going to run another one outside. And if we run the one outside, get the results from that, compare it with your indoor, we can triangulate and we can tell, okay, you know what? Normal for this neighborhood, we're in Surrey right now, a normal mold level would be here, and this is what is in the background. This is stuff you're breathing when you go for a hike in the woods. And, it's higher inside the garage. We have a mold issue that needs to be looked into. Okay, so we actually get this report that shows you the exact species, everything that you're actually dealing with. Now, if I can do this, I'm going to try sharing my screen, Mark, and show you what a lab result for mold looks like. And let me know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so without giving too much away, I've hidden the address, but this is from Mold and Bacteria Labs Canada. They are a local lab. There's a couple that do this kind of evaluation, but this is one of them. And this is a test we did in Vancouver on a townhouse complex about 5 days ago or 6 days ago. And you can see that there's 3 columns, and the columns correspond to which spore trap we use. So we have our outdoor control, which is our baseline. We have our main floor and then our top floor. And what we wanted to determine was if there was mold inside the house. So we can look and we can actually see down the left there, we've got a list of the different species of mold, or pardon me, it would be the genus of mold. And the genus is a family of species. So if we go down, we've got Alternaria, Aspergillus, Chaetomium, Cladosporium, and these are all the different types of mold, and they all have their own characteristics. Some are toxic, some are not, and we can compare our outdoor to our indoor. And what you can see on this one is that it's pretty clean. There's no real issues here. We felt that the mold levels inside the house were considerably lower than outside, and it was not really a huge cause of concern. We do see that the Cladosporium down the left there in the center column, it's a little bit higher, and we trace that back to some wet towels. So that wasn't really a concern because later testing, it's going to lighten up. But overall, it's a pretty clean report. And we can see at the bottom that the total amount of spores, 5,300 outside versus 360 inside. So it's a pretty good result. I would hope for that result. If I was, if I tested my house and it looked like that, I'd be a pretty happy camper. So that's the kind of stuff we can do with this. And if you think you have mold, we can come in, test it pretty easily. It's not overly expensive, and it's relatively painless. You just want to make sure that all your doors and windows are closed for several hours prior to the testing, and we can actually get you that lab result that you can keep on file. And if you decide to sell your house, or if you decide to get work done, then you have a record of what you were breathing in on that exact date. And there's no other way to do that, and it's very in demand right now. We get a lot of requests for this, and it's a great tool.
Awesome. So that's all about air quality with Mr. David Fairbairn of Fairbairn Inspections. Give him a call, 604-395-2795, or go to his website, fairbairninspections.com. Thanks, David.